any news about world energy demand is now set against a backdrop of U.S. climate legislation. Congress is back in town, resuming discussions about the, we think, soon-to-be released Senate cap-and-trade plan. Clean Skies' Tyler Suiters was on the Hill today talking to members of the Senate, past and present. Now, ever since Waxman-Markey passed, climate legislation has sort of taken a back seat.
Yeah, remember, Susan, today was the day that the Boxer carry bill was supposed to be released. Obviously, we're still waiting. There have been delays on that legislation. Also, health care has gotten the spotlight ever since that ACES Act took place back in June. Well, today I talked to Senator Joe Lieberman. Now, remember his perspective here. He was at the UN summit in 1997 when the Kyoto Protocol was signed. And today we talked about what exactly is this flurry of legislation. Where does climate fit in this? He clearly sees, given his experience with the UN conference, an urgency right now for climate issues.
I've been at this battle for a long time, and you know, with Copenhagen coming in December, which is the world's moment to redraw the Kyoto protocols that were adopted in, I guess it was 1997, and I was there. There's increased pressure on America to assume its leadership role in the world, but also to protect our environment, to stimulate our economy, and to protect our national security. So, this battle is complicated by the current economic recession, although any version of climate change legislation that I've seen doesn't go into effect for 3, 4, or 5 years, so we'll be out of it by then.
Okay, so a clear prediction from Joe Lieberman about the end of the recession here. But again, Susan, he's addressing what seems to be the chief criticism of cap-and-trade opponents, the costs. So he has done his homework over the break and he has his talking points in order. And he has some experience in failed climate bills. We haven't really seen him out in front of this issue so far this time. Right? No, we haven't, Susan. His name was on the failed 2008 Senate bill, the Boxer-Lieberman-Warner cap-and-trade plan, one that was defeated on a procedural measure in June of 2008. Today he explained specifically to me about the role he is assuming this year in 2009, a very much behind-the-scenes role in getting legislation passed.
I'm focusing my efforts this time on a middle group of senators, leaving those who are definitely going to vote for climate change and those who are definitely going to vote against the legislation to other people. I'm focusing on the Republicans and Democrats who haven't decided and would like to get to be able to say yes. And I'd say very briefly that they have two major concerns. One is about coal and what we can do to make sure that states that get a lot of their electricity from coal are not punished. And the second is to have greater support of nuclear energy.
Now let's address that Democratic support for a moment. Barbara Boxer's Environment and Public Works Committee is where this bill will originate. That much is clear. And I was there back in March when Boxer said she had the support of all the Democrats on her committee and also some Republicans. Didn't name names or give numbers, although Ben Cardin, for one, and Amy Klobuchar, whom you saw a moment ago, were both standing behind her at the time. But now there are questions about the Democratic support. Back in July, roughly 4 senators were thought to be on the fence, among them Tom Udall and Kirsten Gillibrand. I spoke to both of them, and they said they wanted to see the bill, essentially see what they could get before they supported this. Now, back to what Joe Lieberman just said about the importance of coal and importance of nuclear, Susan. Remember what Waxman-Markey did for those two issues. First of all, with coal, serious allocation for that industry, thanks in large part to House Democrats coming together from those coal states, getting that added into the bill. As for nuclear, not any, virtually any incentives included in Waxman-Markey, including what would have been the most important, which is including nuclear under a federal renewable electricity standard. It sounds like Joe Lieberman is saying there's still hope that this bill is still being created, and he's taking input from these fence sitters. Now,
another difference this time around, the Senate climate debate seems to be shaping up along regional lines as well as party lines.
Exactly, Susan. It's been like this almost since day one, especially when we talk about the renewable electricity standard, which is in the Senate bill that came out of the Senate Energy Committee and may be combined with this environmental legislation, according to Majority Leader Harry Reid. Take Missouri, for example. The senior senator there is Kit Bond, a Republican. He is on the Environment and Public Works Committee. He is also an emphatic no vote. He has announced this time and time again about the way he feels regarding cap and trade. On the other side, though, is the junior senator from Missouri, Claire McCaskill. She is a Democrat, and she has also been fairly public about her doubts regarding cap and trade. Today, I talked to Jim Talent. He is the former Republican senator from Missouri, the former junior senator. He used to sit on the Energy Committee and also the Agriculture Committee, so he knows a great deal about these details involved. And he says for his home state of Missouri, it is quite simply all about economics.
Missouri is very heavy, and we're grateful for this, manufacturing and agriculture state, and these are energy-intensive industries. And so anything that has the effect of increasing the cost of energy is really going to disproportionately hurt Missouri and other heartland states. But I think it's a national problem. I mean, we have a national economy, and the approach is one. Now, if you have an approach where you are incentivizing the economy to move in the direction of technology that's environmentally beneficial, I mean, that's the basic approach, rather than punishing our economy, especially since you're creating further competitive disproportion between us and other countries.
Now, talking about what other countries want and what the U.S. needs, here is someone who's been out of office for roughly 3 years, Susan, and is still pretty well versed in this climate legislation. And in terms of this being at the forefront of the debate right now, Joe Lieberman and Jim Talent were among current former senators talking about weapons of mass destruction legislation today. That's where I caught up with them. But both obviously were more than willing and very capable to talk about climate as well.
Okay, we'll be following that the rest of the week. Tyler Suiters.
Very closely.
Thank you.